the honorary doctorate from this university. Thank you, Lord, and thank you for your great contribution, not only to your country, but your sterling contributions to Africa, and you continue to do that. May God bless you, sir. Thank you very much. And I'd like to thank you, Professor Rekaza Mukandala, the former Vice Chancellor of the University of Dar es Salaam, for that really very warm and really excellent citation. And I was asking myself as you were delivering it, that honestly, who can stand on his feet for that long to deliver such a long citation? And I said to myself, he must be a vice chancellor, because vice chancellors are always on their feet for hours. And I was looking at you, you were not sweating. I said, you must be a great vice chancellor. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania. Your Excellency, Jakaya Kikwete, the former President of the United Republic of Tanzania and the Chancellor of the University of Dar es Salaam. The Honorable Minister of Finance of the United Republic of Tanzania, and my dear brother and friend, the Governor of the African Development Bank Group, your own native graduate from here, Dr. 𝑯𝒉𝒖𝒂. The Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Tanzania, Mr. Dennis Londo, the other senior ministers of the government of Tanzania that are here, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Tanzania, Professor William Ande Anagwise. You should give it up to them, you clap for them, they do great work. You know, I like people that have a lot of energy, and who knows, if you fire me up, I might sing for you at the end of this. I'd like singing too. The Deputy Vice Chancellor, Chancellors, the Chair of the University Council, Honorable Ambassador 𝑯𝒆𝒆𝒅𝒐𝒎 Maju, the members of the University Council that are here, members of the University Senate, faculty members and senior administrators of the university, the students of the university, the graduating class of 2025. If you're in the graduating class of 2025, say aye. Oh, that's right. Congratulations to all of you. Families and friends, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. And of course, Mrembo wangu, kipenzi changu, mke wangu, my dear beautiful wife, Grace. And what can I do without Grace? And I think the best decision I made in my life was to marry her. And as I was coming in this morning, my dear brother, the governor, your Minister of Finance, introduced his wife to me. He said, this is my Grace, and her name is Nima. Then I realized that Nima actually is Grace. So, you know, your Nima is here, my Grace is here. Well, honestly, if you want to get married, get a Grace and get a Nima, your life will be good. It's such a great honor to be with you today. It's also a tremendous joy to celebrate with all of you at the University of Dar es Salaam Class of 2025 graduation ceremony. I wish to thank Her Excellency President Samia Suluhu Hassan most sincerely for inviting me back to Tanzania as I wind down on my 10-year tenure as President of the African Development Bank Group. I'm most grateful to the University Chancellor, former President Jakaya Kikwete, my dear brother, the Vice Chancellor, the University Council, the faculty and staff of the university for the honorary doctorate degree you've conferred on me today from Tanzania's most prestigious university, the University of Dar es Salaam. I have a deep personal love and admiration for Tanzania. And that is why I have kept coming back. As president of the African Development Bank, I have visited Tanzania several times. I've lost count of it. And I can tell you that no president in the history of the bank since 1964 has visited Tanzania more than I have and worked more closely with this lovely country. And to make my trips more exciting, I always come with Grace Nema. And so you get two for the price of one all the time. Madam President Samia Suluhu Hassan has also succeeded into turning us into Tanzanians. Mimi na Grace ni wananchi wa Tanzania sasa. We believe in the promise of Tanzania, a promise that each day is nurtured right here at the University of Dar es Salaam, one of Africa's oldest and premier universities. I very much like the motto of the University of Dar es Salaam. Hekima ni uhuru. Wisdom is freedom. It resonates with me. And as I look at you today, the graduating class of 2025, I see a well-equipped and prepared cohort of game changers, life changers, who have been imbibed with great wisdom. By graduating today, you have earned your freedom. Freedom to take on the world. Freedom to impact the world. Freedom to be all that you can be. Hongera, hongera. Congratulations. Now, I know that what it is to study, and studying is not always an easy thing in university. So I know for you to be here today, you've studied very, very hard. And so not only are you getting your degree today, but let me congratulate you for actually studying very hard and passing all your exams. So let me say to you, hongera kwa kufaulu mtihani. Now, let me just say to you that you'll be following in his footsteps and the pathways of many great African leaders that have passed through this great University of Dar es Salaam. I have no doubt that you will become great leaders too. I highly recommend that you commit to following their illustrious paths as exemplary leaders. And as I was being introduced by the former Vice Chancellor, he was telling you about exams and my not being admitted to medical school. And let me just be clear about that. When I was applying to the university, I was just a little over 14 years old when I was applying to the university. And my father, who grew up as a farmer, wanted me to be a medical doctor, by all means. And so he always filled my forms for me. First choice was medicine. And second choice was dentistry. And third choice was veterinary medicine. Whether I liked it or not, I had to be a doctor. And so I will apply to the university, and they say my grades were not enough for med school, but they would take me for agriculture. My father, who was a farmer, who grew up as a farmer, said, no way, we ain't going there. And so I went on to do my A-levels. My first year, I applied again. First choice medicine, second choice dentistry, third choice veterinary medicine. They say, your grade's not enough for medicine, but we'll take you for agriculture. I finished my A-levels and I applied again. First choice medicine, second choice dentistry, third choice veterinary medicine. The university said, we'll take you again, but we'll take you again for agriculture. And my father said, God must really want you in agriculture. That is how I ended up in agriculture. And when we ended up in agriculture, and I got my PhD in the United States in agricultural economics, I wrote my father a note, and I wrote it doctor, so that he gets that I finally got a doctorate. And he always used to call me doctor. And so one day, our first son, who graduated, is a medical doctor in the US, for his graduation ceremony, my dad was 90 years old then, and we invited him to come to the United States, and we went for the graduation ceremony. And so when he was talking, we're taking pictures, he said, doctor. And so I turned, I said, yes, Dad. He said, I don't mean you, I mean the real doctor. And of course, I turned to my dad, I said, even the real doctor would tell you take your tablets 3 times a day, but only after food, which means agriculture is still more important than medicine. As I said, this distinguished citadel of higher learning has nurtured remarkable leaders and freedom fighters such as President Museveni of Uganda, the former President Jakaya Kikwete of Tanzania, and your current Chancellor, the former President, my late brother, President John Magufuli, the dynamic late President of Tanzania, who was a dear brother and a friend of mine. When my late friend, the former President Magufuli, passed away, I was devastated. I came to Tanzania. I wanted to pay my last respects to him in his hometown. It was an incredible display of empathy and support. The newly sworn-in president, Her Excellency President Samia Suluhu Hassan, facilitated my travel there. I will never forget the demonstration of such respect, warmth, and love, respect shown to me by Her Excellency. So I thought to honor the memory of my dear friend, the late president, and may his soul continue to rest in peace. I knew then, right there and then, that President Suluhu Hassan was a president with a heart that cares, a heart that is deeply rooted in and committed to honoring the past while focused intensely on building a new future, a heart that yearns intensely for an even more peaceful, stable, and prosperous Tanzania. Thank you, Madam President. Asante sana, Mheshimiwa Rais. As you have honored my late brother and friend, the late president, may God honor you always. Tanzania is an iconic example for Africa. Tanzania gave us Julius Nyerere, the founding father of Tanzania, whose African socialist ideals, simplicity, and love for people were incredibly inspiring. Out of Tanzania came Salaam Ahmed Salim, the legendary and quintessential African diplomat and the 7th Secretary General of the Organization of African Unity. Out of Tanzania came Jakaya Kikwete, who inspired the development of the Southern Agricultural Growth Corridor. We used to meet His Excellency and I at the World Economic Forum, and if there's anything that he left everybody with, mesmerized at Davos, was something called SAGOT, and that is the Southern Agricultural Growth Corridor. Thank you very much for your incredible contributions and your passion in promoting Tanzania globally, Mr. President. Out of Tanzania came John Magufuli, whose energetic drive for good governance, his resolute stance against corruption, and his unrelenting passion for Tanzania to develop with pride ignited such hope. Out of Tanzania comes Samia Suluhu Hassan, Tanzania's first female president. I think you clap for that. Whose visionary and inspirational leadership is accelerating development all across Tanzania. So I am excited to be here today in Tanzania, a nation that I love, a beautiful land with a beautiful and intricately woven tapestry of hospitality, culture, wisdom, freedom, and peace that is an exemplar in and for Africa. It is this long and extraordinary history of rich economic leadership, social and political stability that is at the core of the massive support that the African Development Bank has given to Tanzania since it joined the African Development Bank 54 years ago in 1971. Since 2015, Excellency Chancellor, when I was elected president of the African Development Bank Group, the support of the African Development Bank to Tanzania has grown in leaps and bounds. Let me give you a sense of proportion. Since the African Development Bank started its operations in Tanzania in 1971 to 2015, the total financing of the bank to Tanzania in that period has been $9 billion. However, in the last 10 years alone, from 2015 to 2025, under my presidency, the total financial support to Tanzania is $4.73 billion, which means in 10 years alone, we did 53% of all the banks lending to Tanzania over the past 54 years. I am greatly impressed with Tanzania's economic performance and resilience, on that the dynamic and visionary leadership of your leaders and of course your current president, President Samia Suluhu Hassan. Spurred by the growth in agriculture, tourism and financial services, manufacturing and construction and mining, and sound macroeconomic and fiscal policies, Tanzania's real GDP growth expanded from 5.1% in 2023 to 5.6% in 2024. This year, the real GDP will expand further to 5.9% and then to 6%, making Tanzania one of the fastest growing economies in Africa. Since your Minister of Finance is here, you might as well thank him and all of their staff for a great job. And that is why at the African Development Bank, our support to Tanzania in the past 4 years under President Suluhu Hassan grew from $2.25 billion in December of 2021 to $3.74 billion in December 2024. The impact of that support by the African Development Bank can be seen and felt all across Tanzania. Today, the African Development Bank is supporting President Suluhu Hassan's bold Building a Better Tomorrow project with $130 million. The project targeted ambition is to support 12,000 enterprises in 1,200 villages all across the country. This bold program will scale up investments in irrigation and mechanization to increase irrigated land area by 65% over the next 2 years. It will expand the delivery of certified seeds from 1,050 metric tons to 200,000 metric tons over the next 5 years. It will attract a total of $3.2 billion to value addition in agro-processing, logistics, storage, finance over the next 5 years. To further support the transformation of the agricultural sector, which I care so much about, the African Development Bank also provided $70 million for the recapitalization of the Tanzanian Agricultural Development Bank. I am delighted that with that support, Tanzania's traditional exports expanded from $567 million in 2019 to an impressive $915 million. Your country witnessed a 50% increase in rice paddy production, and over 2.4 million farmers have been reached, with a total of $39 million provided for farmer cooperatives. An additional $65 million will be provided this year to Tanzania, again to support the Tanzanian Agricultural Development Bank. The African Development Bank is also mobilizing $3.2 billion for the construction of the electric standard gauge railway that will link Tanzania to Burundi and the Democratic Republic of Congo, and to enhance regional trade and integration while opening up mining corridors. Your Excellency, Chancellor, as Dodoma, the new capital city of Tanzania, blossoms, the African Development Bank is right there in support of your ambitions for the modernization of the city. The bank is currently supporting the construction of the Masalato International Airport, the Dodoma Outer Ring Road, and the Dodoma Water Development and Sanitation Project. After Arusha gained its city status in 2010, and despite its elevated status and the growing demands of urbanization, as a key international regional hub, the service area covered by Arusha Water Urban Supply and Sanitation Authority remained very low at 44% of water and only 7.6% for sewage. But in September of 2015, the African Development Bank Group provided $210 million financing to improve Arusha's water supply and sanitation services. Then, everything changed. By 2023, water access in urban and peri-urban areas of Arusha increased exponentially from 44% to 99%. The number of people with access to safe drinking water rose from 325,000 to over 605,000. Sewerage coverage expanded from 7.6 to 39%, increasing the number of people with access to improved sanitation from 142,000 in 2014 to over 200,000 in 2023. Now, these phenomenal development numbers tells you that Tanzania can take pride in these developments. But I remember when I came to see President Samia Suluhu Hassan, she said she had a vision. to make transport services in Tanzania much easier and more affordable. She gave me a story of young women, market women, when they actually go into the market, they have to enter buses, and it was very not dignified, the way they have to be rushing inside of buses. And so she decided to have what is called improved services, the Dar es Salaam Rapid Bus Transit Project. This is financed by the African Development Bank with over $138 million. It is improving the ease of transport for residents in the city in terms of accessibility, affordability, and public safety, especially for women. The number or the volume of passengers has increased from 21%, from 495,000 daily passengers to over 600,000 passengers per day. And the time people travel has reduced from 90 minutes to just 20 minutes. To support the government of Tanzania on health, the bank approved $74 million in 2024 for the second phase of the Tanzania Center for Excellence on Skills and Tertiary Education in Biomedical Sciences. These will help address the increasing challenges in cardiovascular diseases through enhanced available skills and capacity, as well as make access more affordable for the citizens. The government's very bold vision to ensure under President Hassan to have universal electricity across the country, the entire mainland of Tanzania and Zanzibar, with the goal of achieving increased electricity connectivity to rise from 46% in 2022 to 75% in 2023. And that cooking solutions will rise from only 7% in 2021 to 80% in 2030. I should say here that I'm very proud of what your president is doing. And she and I work very closely together at global levels. And I cannot forget when we were in Paris together about the issue of clean cooking solutions. And I care deeply about this. Today, I wear glasses not because I got smart. I wear glasses because as a kid, my mother used to cook with fuel and charcoal. And I used to help her to blow it. And I know that it's not decent. We lose 600,000 women and children every single year in Africa because of lack of access to clean cooking solutions. And so it is very important that we have African women being able to stay alive, but also having the dignity of cooking well. And I want you to thank your president for taking this on, and I think it's a great thing for Tanzania, and I support it fully. To achieve a lot of laudable goals for electricity in your country, we are supporting the submarine cable that will link electricity straight to Zanzibar, the 400 kilowatt Tanzania-Kenya power interconnection, the Kakano hydropower project, the Malagarasi hydropower project, the Northwest Grid Expansion project, the expansion of distribution, transmission, and last mile connectivity, the Tanzania-Malawi power interconnection, among several others. And I came here in January of 2025 when we wanted to launch what's called Mission 300. The president of the World Bank and I decided that we have to reach 300 million Africans to electricity. Of course, when we're thinking of which global leaders can we actually have to help us do this, I didn't blink. I told Ajay Banga, we're going to one place, we're going to President Samia Suluhu Hassan in Tanzania. And it was organized here, as you heard, in January of this year. We had over 31 heads of state and government here. It was impressive. And we were able to mobilize $50 billion to support universal access to electricity here in Africa. Thank you to Tanzania. The Tanzanian Country Energy Compact, as part of that, is poised to deliver universal access to electricity for all people of Tanzania by 2030. Each of these strategic projects, Your Excellency Chancellor, are designed to build a better tomorrow for Tanzania, a better tomorrow for the youth of Tanzania, a better tomorrow for the women of Tanzania, a better tomorrow across the rural and urban areas of Tanzania, a better tomorrow for the private sector of Tanzania, a better tomorrow to continue to make Tanzania shine as a beacon of hope, peace, prosperity, and stability for Africa. Now, as I turn to you, the graduates, the future beckons you to contribute and to participate and to elevate Tanzania. To elevate Tanzania with faith, strength, patriotic fervor, and a sense of pride. Elevating Africa is what we do at the African Development Bank. To the graduating students of the University of Dar, Salaam, let me say to you that the essence of leadership is the capacity to see the future before it happens and to bring that future solutions into the present. That is why, within a short period of time, we have been working with the government of Tanzania to help you in your efforts in this country. Permit me to share a little story with you. Like millions of young African, poverty, for me, is not an academic topic. It is an experience. I grew up poor. My grandfather was a poor farmer. My parents were honest and hardworking. But there was only so much that they could do and so much that we lacked. However, they believed in me and knew that one day my life will amount to something bigger than their own dreams. I went to University of Purdue as a student. I had $750 to spend for 6 months in America. My rent was $100 a month. That left me with $150 to spend for 6 months in America. That's why today, if you invite me to your house, I will never eat macaroni because I ate all the macaroni in my life, macaroni and ketchup for 6 months. No shoes. I walked in bitter snow, no gloves. One day I woke up in the morning, I had only 25 cents left in the world. I knelt beside my bed, I said, God, and that's it. And I went out. The bus was coming on a bitter cold day. I entered the bus and I put 25 cents into the till. The bus driver said, that would be 50 cents, please. I said, I have no 50 cents, I have 25 cents. The guy put in 25 cents for me. And that was how I got to university, school. God works in mysterious ways. I got over there at the university, my professor said to me, I asked you to come and see me because I don't have ongera to tell you, but we just had an exam and you scored 54%. And you are by far the smartest student in this class. What happened? I said, that's because I have not eaten anything for the last 3 days. And the exam is the last thing on my mind. He opened his drawer. He wrote me a check for $100. He said, pay that back in 5 years when you get your PhD. As I was getting out, he said, go to room 575. I said, what's in room 575? He said, you'll see a professor there. His name is Phil Abbott. I went over there. I saw Professor Phil Abbott. He said, are you the Nigerian student? I said, yes. He said, they say you are very smart. I said, I don't know anything about that. He said, but they tell me you don't have money. I said, I know everything about that. I have no money. He said, you have an assistantship. You'll be paid $750 a month. Your university fees are paid. Master's, PhD. That was how I got trained. And of course, so that you don't think that you are giving honorary doctorate to somebody who failed a course, at the end of my 5th year in the university, I took the same specialty for my PhD final exam. I scored a 94%. I went back to the professor. I gave him a check of $100. He took my script where I scored for 54%. He trashed it. He shook my hands. He said, congratulations, doctor. That is how you can give me a honorary doctorate today, because God is good. And so moving from managing 25 cents to today managing $318 billion, I just have a message for you. And I really mean this. It doesn't matter where you began from. It doesn't matter who your parents are. It doesn't matter what you have. As long as you have faith, as long as you have confidence in yourself, there is no limit to what you can do. And I'm confident that you also will make big differences in your lifetime. You've heard a lot of what we've done at the African Development Bank. I didn't do this alone. I have excellent staff, and I just have a message for you. Whatever you do in life, remember this. If you don't remember anything I tell you today, please remember this. There's a big tree in our villages. They call it a baobab tree. If you try and put your hands around it, you can't. Like this. But if you put your whole hands around it, or people, you can. Success is never individual. Success is a collective effort. Learn as you leave this university to work with others to do incredible things. In the last 10 years I've been at the bank, we have impacted more than 565 million people. 23 million people with access to electricity. 104 million people with access to food security. 121 million people with access to improved transport services. 128 million people with access to improved health services. More than 64 million people with access to water. 34 million people with access to sanitation. And over 94 million people with access to digital services. You don't get to do that alone. You work with others. That's what I'm saying. Please, take it from me. Success depends on your ability to work with others to succeed, and God will help you to succeed. As I bring this to a close, I also want you to know, whatever you do, have pride. I don't believe nations develop without pride. When I was elected president of the African Development Bank, my team, we worked so hard, Mr. President. What do we have today? The African Development Bank was ranked as the best multilateral financial institution in the world. The African Development Bank was ranked as the most transparent financial institution in the world. The African Development Bank, as an African institution, today is a global institution. So all I'm saying to you is this: make Africa proud. Only the best is good enough for Africa. And so as I close, dear graduates, the class of 2025, with the wisdom you have been imbued with and the freedom to utilize that for the skills and competencies you have to grow your country and to transform the world, I would like to encourage you. You must not become flowers that shrink and shrivel. You cannot afford to be bystanders. You cannot hide your talents and your gifts under a bushel. You must stand out and you must shine. And today, as I join you as a proud University of Dar Salaam graduate, you have been provided with the tools, the values, and the wisdom you need to make your country and Africa proud. Put those skills and tools to work to make our continent a better place, and beyond all, to make the world a better place. Keep your eyes on the prize. A smooth ride is not promised to you in life. As you set out to accomplish your goals, circumstances and naysayers will stand in opposition to you. Stay focused. When all around you tell you you cannot do it because it's impossible, tell yourself that with God all things are possible to those who believe. Then go out and do it. Remember again, I'll leave you one more thing. It's the story of the frogs. When I was going to be minister in Nigeria, I asked my father-in-law, Grace's father, give me one advice. He said, I can remember this story of the frog. It's a family of frogs, and they were all climbing a very, very big, pole. And as they were climbing on this particular pole, this particular frog just kept going, and all the family of frogs kept screaming. He got to the top of the pole, and then he was coming down. All the frogs were still screaming, what if you die? What if this happens? And then when the frog got to the bottom, and they asked him, you're a very stupid frog, they looked at the frog, and the frog was deaf. He didn't hear a single thing. So whatever you're going to do in life, please shut your ears, keep your eyes focused, never be deterred by any obstacle in your way. Africa's time is now, and you will make it happen. Siku nihi, wakati nihu. Now get out there and be all that you can be. Now rise and shine. Be a doer. Do not procrastinate. Take action. Be decisive. Be purposeful. Be determined. Be resilient in the face of whatever may come your way. Never stop doing good. 𝒉𝒖𝒓𝒄. Think with your head and act with your heart. Think. That is the kind of heart I have found and seen consistently, also in my friend, President Jakaya Kikwete, and also in President Samia Suluhu Hassan. That's the kind of heart that drives all of our work at the African Development Bank. I have very much enjoyed being part of Tanzania's success story. Over the past 10 years, I have found that Tanzania is bankable. And when he was president, I said Jakaya Kikwete was bankable. And I can say before you today, not only was he bankable, and today you have a new president, President Samia Suluhu is also bankable, and your country is bankable. That's why we support you. I wish to thank you once again for all the great honor of the honorary doctorate degree conferred on me today by the University of Tanzania. I humbly join an eminent group of graduates of this great university. Pamoja, let us work to change our world. Pamoja, let us make the University of Dar es Salaam proud. Pamoja, let us make Tanzania proud. Pamoja, let us make Africa proud. Now let's have all of you stand with your permission, Mr. Chancellor. If you can give me the permission, since you have all the powers here today. We just stand. I want to do the baobab thing for the students. The students just rise, please, and just put your hand with the person next to you. There is no COVID, just rise. Put your hands together with the person next to you.
Let's do it.
Yeah. And just say this after me. Together, we will succeed.
We will succeed.
And we will make a big difference.
We will make a big difference.
Yes, you will go out and shine for Tanzania. Go out and shine for Africa. Go out and make your parents proud. Go out and make a difference in the world. May God put wind behind your sails. God bless you all. Mungu awabariki. Mungu aibariki Tanzania.
Well, thank you very, very much, 𝑯𝒆𝒅𝒂𝒂.